Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of Sustainable Shredding. This week, I took on my 350th client since January last year, since I started this business. And so I thought it'd be a nice time to just reflect and look back at 5 lessons that I've learned from coaching those people so that you guys at home can get the benefit and hopefully utilize some of the things that they've been doing for your own health and fitness benefits. First lesson is progress, not perfection. Most of the people I work with are on some kind of weight loss journey. They want to lose 10 kilos, 20, some even 30 kilos. And the problem that a lot of people have when they're on a diet or a health kick, as they might call it, is that they focus everything on the nutrition, they focus everything on the weight on the scales, and have a couple of bad weeks, and it feels like the whole world's falling down around you and that everything is going backwards, and it's a total waste of time because it's got hard and you've fallen off the wagon. It's not about that. There are ways to lose weight sustainably in a way that you can continue to sustain that once you get to your weight loss goal. The person that is the goal weight you want to get to is not on some crash diet. They're not fixated on calories and macros. They've probably got good habits. They probably go to the gym most of the time. They probably stick to their diet most of the time. They probably weigh in once every couple of weeks. Getting overly fixated on massive progress all the time with the scale sets you back because it's the wrong mindset. It's not how you get to that goal, and it's definitely not how you sustain it. Increasing your daily step count, improving your sleep quality, improving your tracking with your food, getting a little bit stronger at the gym. Individually, these little bits of progress are not going to change your life, but when you consistently work on them, making little bits of progress every single day, eventually, 6 months down the line, you're a completely different person to the person you were at the start of the journey. You look better, you feel better, your friends, family, colleagues will be commenting on how much better you look, and that's all the things that I'm talking to you about now are things that have happened to my clients inside the Shift Worker Shred. So yeah, that's the end of the first lesson. Lesson number 2 is those who prep the most make the most progress. And by prep, what do I mean? Well, the most obvious thing you're probably thinking of is meal prep. If you're going on to shift without any food prepped, without any kind of ideas of how many macros you need to be eating, the chance of you staying on track, the chance of you progressing towards your goal is very, very slim. It's going to cost you more money. You're going to be making decisions when you're hungry, which is probably the worst time to make decisions. If you're on your final rest day, preparing food for at least the next couple of days, if you're on the 6 on 4 off, on your first late shift, and on before your first night shift, if you're prepping food on those days, you're going to have a good time. Even if you don't always get the chance to eat it, even if you always maybe eat a little bit of something on top, if you can stick to that as closely as possible, you're going to make progress. It's the same with going to the gym. If you're not writing in your diary or planning the days where you're going to go and you're leaving it to chance thinking, if I feel okay, I'll go to the gym. If I'm off on time, I'll go to the gym. If I get everything else done, I'll go to the gym. No. If you're serious about making good progress, you have to prioritize this stuff. You have to plan it and make the time for it because it will not make the time for itself. It's a bit like saving money. If you think, whatever I've got left at the end of the month, I'll put into a savings account and that'll stack up. That never happens. I've done that myself. You get to the end of the month and you got like 30 quid before payday. You're like, I was pointless saving anything this month. I'll try it again next month. Repeating the same process never gets you anywhere. But if it's payday on the 28th, like it is for a lot of people today, there's a good chance that if you want to save, you can put 100, 200, maybe 300 pounds into a savings account, and you never had that money in the first place. So you never get the chance to spend it. It's the same with prepping your food and going to the gym. If you plan it from the start, it's there when you need it. And if you don't, it's never there. Lesson number 3 is habits matter. So imagine a triangle. Here, you've got your nutrition. Here, you've got your exercise. And at the bottom, you've got your habits. If you want to have sustainable success with your health and fitness, you need to have all 3 of these things. And the reason that I've put habits at the bottom is because those are the ones that prop up the nutrition and the training. You can have the best training in the world, you can have the best nutrition in the world, but if you haven't got the habits underneath it to keep those propped up, they fall and everything else falls with it, because there will be days and there will be weeks but when you're on shift and you were unable to go to the gym, or for example you were on extended shifts and you didn't have a chance to eat your meal prep, it can fall down quite quickly. When I'm talking about habits, I'm talking about things like daily step count, having an evening routine, having a morning routine, planning your training, planning your nutrition, reading, using your phone less, making an effort to contact people who you don't normally contact. These little steps, every little thing that you do is making you better. Every little step you take is taking you closer to your goal. comes up to one of my favourite sayings from Atomic Habits by James Clear. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. So if you're the type of person that gets home from a shift and sits on the couch and doom scrolls and then says you don't have time to go to the gym, you're not a gym goer. You're a lazy person who is simply not prioritising the right things at the moment. Every action you take right there is taking you away from your goal. If you're the person that thinks, well, I'm going to feel tired after my shift, and I know if I go home first and sit on the couch, I'm almost certainly not going to go to the gym. But if I take my gym kit with me, I take some meal prep with me, I can eat that after work on the way to the gym, I can take my gym kit with me and get changed at the gym, and that way I can go to the gym and then come home afterwards and then sit on the couch. That is a winning mentality. That's a fit person mindset. Trying to do stuff the hard way is just going to make it too hard more often than not. And ultimately, if you have more bad days than good days, when those bad days come around, they really suck and they just take you so far away from your goals. Lesson number 4 is sleep is the most important thing you can address. So why is that? So for me, if your sleep is poor, you're playing life on hard mode. Every single thing that you do is harder than it needs to be. It's harder to stick to your diet. It's harder to go to the gym. It's harder to perform well at work. It's harder to have good relationships because you're rattier, you're tired, you can't think as clearly. And it's also not good for your long-term health. Almost every single process in the body is better when your sleep is improved. So what can you do to improve your sleep? One thing that we get all of our clients inside the Shift Book Shred to do is try and have an evening routine. No phone in the bedroom. No phone at least an hour before you go to bed. If you can, read in bed as well. If you can improve your sleep quality like that, like a lot of people can, awesome. If you can't, maybe improve it as much. We need to reduce caffeine earlier in the day. We need to maybe do some journaling. Journaling is fantastic. It's been proven that if you journal before bed, literally just write down the things that have happened today, it reduces the amount of time that it takes to fall asleep by 50%, which doesn't sound like a lot, but if it normally takes you 45 minutes to fall asleep, an extra 22 and a half minutes is quite substantive if you're only getting 6 or 7. It's a decent percentage, and ultimately, if you're falling asleep quicker, it's likely that you're going to be getting into more restful sleep earlier on. So there was a study done on some rats where it was quite savage actually. There's 3 types of sleep. There's deep sleep, there's REM, which is repetitive eye movement, and then there's light sleep. And they put probes into each of these rats, and whenever each of the rats went into a certain sleep state, they woke them up and deprived them of it. Now, off the top of my head, I think the rats that had the light sleep interrupted, essentially they were never allowed to lightly sleep, had almost zero detriment on their overall health and well-being. The rats that had their deep sleep deprived died after something like 18 days. And most interestingly, the rats that died after 9 days had their REM sleep taken away. Now, prior to the study being done, it was thought that deep sleep was the most important, but it's actually not. REM sleep is the most important. That is when your brain is rationalizing and compartmentalizing a lot of the thoughts and things that happened the day before to kind of, imagine you've got like a messy drawer, your kitchen's really messy. You take everything away, you put it away, and the next day you wake up, everything's where it needs to be. If you're just piling up dirt and crap and bad memories, inability to think about things clearly, it can mess your brain up really quickly. 9 days, I think it took for those rats to die. So if you're going to bed late in the evening, you're on your phone, you've had screen time, you've been caffeinated, it takes a lot longer to get into that REM state of sleep. The longer you leave it to get into that REM state, the less effective it is, and you can never catch it up. And that's another reason why, let's say for example you've had a lot of alcohol, you feel like you have really crazy dreams. You actually don't. It's just that your REM sleep happened far later in your period of sleep than it normally would. And so you're able to remember the things that happen more. You still have the same crazy dreams when you haven't been drinking. It's just that they happen so earlier on in your sleep that you don't remember them by the time you wake up. So yeah, have an evening routine, prioritize sleep, and it just makes everything better. Another reason for sleep is if your sleep is poor, you will most likely have more stress, and you have the stress hormone called cortisol. The higher your cortisol is, the harder it is for your body to drop body fat because you're in a state of stress, for want of a better term. And so yeah, again, comes back to having good sleep. And the 5th lesson, hiding solves nothing. Some of the clients inside the Shift Book Shred, they will have bad weeks. Sometimes they'll have 2 bad weeks. Somebody will die. They'll have a stressful week at work. Their nutrition won't go as well. They maybe didn't go to the gym. And as a result, they'll then skip their weekly check-in, which we do on a Sunday. And I think there's an element of, oh crap, I didn't do it right. I'm going to pretend it didn't happen and hopefully they won't notice. We do notice. We check everyone's check-in every single week. But hiding away from your problems is not facing up to them. It's not overcoming them. It's letting them get on top of you. And if you allow problems to become problems by letting them manifest and not dealing with them and letting them go on and on and on, it's like the monster, the beast grows bigger and stronger. If you've got a problem, solve it. If it's like a 5-minute problem, just do it. Stop putting it off. Because if you do allow these little things, they build up, and you shy away from one. And going back to that previous quote of every action you take, if you're someone that procrastinates and backs away from your troubles and your problems and things that scare you, you're not a hero, you're not a champion, you're the person that backs away from things that they're scared of, and nothing goes in the comfort zone. If you're doing things to back away from these, it's not serving you, it's just making you worse. You want to be that person that's strong and overcomes, have that leadership mindset, crush them. And typically when you have a problem to solve, you'll think it's this hard to do. When you actually do it, it takes like 2 minutes and it's like, I wish I'd just done that earlier. How many times has that happened to you? So yeah, that is the end of the 5 lessons. Hopefully you managed to get some benefit out of those. Hopefully you found something that you can relate to. I'd be very surprised if you've watched this and you haven't found something in there that you thought you could have improved on. So yeah, don't just listen to this and then not act upon it. Come away from this, maybe write something down now on your phone or on your hand if you're watching it at work with a pen, and do something. Just take one thing that my clients have taught me and use it to move forward. Don't just be someone that reads it and think, oh, that's cool, and discard it because it doesn't serve you. Act on this information. It's really good, it's really useful. And all these 5 things, like I say, they're proven to give results to shift workers who are trying to get into better shape. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, give me a like, and if you could subscribe to the channel, it really does help me to grow it, help more people like you, help more shift workers get into great shape. So I'll see you guys next week.